All right, I think we're still waiting on a few more people to pop in, but they can join us as we get started. I'd like to thank everybody to the Nonprofit Council Make or Take, and our goal here is to be able to share some calendars, to be able to enlighten people about some opportunities in terms of Give Local Piedmont and letting people know on how to make the most of their return of investment on that program. And Amy Martin with the Culpeper Baptist Child Development Center has put together a great PowerPoint to talk a little bit more about what we're hoping to accomplish and how we can accomplish that today. Amy, you can take it from here. Thank you.
Sure. I hope that the concept of make and take is that we are able to, it's a kind of an education title, but we're not going to be making things per se today, but hopefully you'll get some ideas of things you can make. But I do hope that all of us, including me, get to take away some ideas. I'm going to share, I have to share, I got all of this information. We've done Give Local Piedmont for 5 years now and been rather successful. And each year it tends to get a little bit easier. So I have a file about this thick of all of the things I've collected from Give Local Piedmont webinars or meetings that I just kind of put together the ideas that have been useful for us into a PowerPoint, and that can be sent out by Jeff or Amy. It's a wordy PowerPoint, just because I just wanted every idea to be given to you all. I don't intend for all ideas to be used by everybody, but just pick and choose the ones that could be most successful for you. And I also, although many of us will participate in Give Local Piedmont, and I think Dee Dee's going to join today from Northern Piedmont Community Foundation, it does not have to be used only for Give Local Piedmont in May. I'm hoping that some of the ideas can resonate for other fundraisers that you would do throughout the year. So I'm going to pull that up now and we'll just kind of go slide by slide. It might look visually overwhelming. I'm not going to be laborious on every bullet, but just I hope that you'll be able to have some takeaways. So let me share the screen here for a second.
And Amy, as Amy is going along, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat. And then Andrew DiNicola, who's the co-chair of our nonprofit council, is going to forward them on to Amy or myself so we can answer those. And we can hopefully answer any questions you have. So feel free to use the chat function to ask any questions.
Okay, can everybody see the PowerPoint? Okay, I think I'll get to presentation mode here. So I attended a webinar a year ago around this time of the season over at the Path Foundation, and Fauquier Boys and Girls Club had a PowerPoint that they gave us. So I want to give them credit for these 4 big ideas. And I found them to be incredibly helpful for the start of a fundraiser through the end. And the first one is very important, called Share Your Story. You'll see all of these headings come up as we move along. So here are some ways that I wrote to share your story, and I feel like this is one of the most important ways to engage your donors. I'm going to just kind of read them, and as I feel need to elaborate. And then after each category, I have a blank slide for all of us to brainstorm other ideas. I want to learn from you just the same. So some ways to share your story would be fun facts about your organization. And sharing them means social media, email blasts, even handwritten letters if you have older donors that may not prefer to do technology, etc. You always want to share the longevity of your organization because donors are more willing to give to folks that they know are viable and are going to be around for quite a while. You want to share why you're different or how you're different from other people. So on Give Local Piedmont, for example, there are several child care centers that want to get some donors. So I have to share how Culpeper Baptist is a little bit different, for example. You want to explain how you're uniquely able to do the good work. For example, I could say that I'm asking for money for childhood wellness, and I could share easily, for example, just how I'm uniquely capable to do that. I'm already an established program, for example. I don't have to start from scratch. Various things for my center, and you can think of all of your various entities. What makes you uniquely able to do that? Aging Together has a unique ability to do adult care, so it would be silly for me to ask for that money. Donors are going to want to see that the people are unique. I won't ramble on that too much more, but they want to know why you are. You can feature something that you've done for the community. You want to brag about yourself greatly in the months leading up to your fundraiser. You can share your story by communicating your accomplishments and your impact in the community. And then finally, another way to share your story would be through testimonials, future projects, why you need investors, basically. You want to get some of those, maybe not all of them, all out ahead of your fundraiser to engage your donors. What other ideas? Is there anybody else that have some ideas of how you share your story around the group? I'll go back to the list.
I just want to point out that we have, 2 local newspapers in Culpeper, the Star Exponent and the Culpeper Times, that are great resources, that they're always looking for content, and they love being able to share about nonprofits and the events that we have going on. So make sure you make those connections with the newspapers, with Emily Jennings, who's the editor at the Star Exponent, and Josh Gully, who's the new editor at the Culpeper Times, because those are great avenues to be able to share that story and be able to reach a broad region of our community, both online and in paper.
Thanks, Jeff.
Jeff, I think that's an excellent idea. Aging Together has really taken advantage of that relationship. And I recently connected with Josh Gully and doing a monthly article now. So, they, as you say, they're so welcoming and they want to partner with people, and it's just great visibility because I know everybody says that the newspaper is kind of going away, but I think a lot of people actually still read the newspaper, especially in our rural areas and our older adult population. So, but Amy, I think you presented some great ideas here, and just to not necessarily different from what you shared, but I just want to also highlight that I think the personal story of how an individual benefited is really powerful. So just kind of picking up on that point, especially like if the spokesperson could be a person who benefited, like a client of your organization, rather than the organization saying, oh, we're doing this great work, but how somebody actually benefited, and having that person be the person to highlight that. And then something we've been able to really brag on of late has been that Aging Together was Nonprofit of the Year from the Culpeper Chamber. So now we are, oh my goodness, we're getting as much mileage out of that as we can, because that's something that we're really, really proud of. And it says that, not only do we think we're doing good work, but the community thinks that we're doing good work and we've been recognized. So I think, again, you kind of highlighted that, but there's a real life example of how that can really benefit.
Congratulations. Great job.
And we love that you brag about that, and that's a great point, because the chamber, I mentioned the newspapers, but also the chamber, as members of the chamber, make sure you utilize your benefits and get the news releases out there. And if you're looking for volunteers, you can put out a job listing asking for volunteers. And Amy and I are here to help, and we're always pleased to find ways to connect you. So make sure you use your resources within the chamber.
Social media is another way to share your story too. We use Facebook often to share small pieces. Obviously you can't do as much on social media as you can in a news piece. Amy, what I'm seeing here, you're saying it without saying it. One of the things that I've learned in my nonprofit, I won't tell you how many years. One thing that I've learned in nonprofit is that people want to support success. They're not necessarily all that interested, and they don't even know their brain is shutting down, but their brain shuts down when they hear, oh, please, oh, please, oh, please. We have such great need. It's this is, you're being, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, nonprofits are held to a higher standard. And they not only have to be businesses, but they have to accomplish their mission. And so, if I had my way, I would take out the term nonprofit sector and for-profit sector and make it the business sector, and divide that in half with profit-driven and mission-driven. And I think that people have a sense of when there's asking from need, or asking from, oh, these stories are so sad, and oh, we need your help, we need your help. That doesn't cut it. It's really, you've all said it. You want to get out the feel-good stories. You want to fundraise from success, from a place of success, even if you know exactly what your financials look like and you're biting your nails every payroll.
Right.
You know, if you're accomplishing your mission, you're being successful.
Okay, great point, Dee Dee. Thank you. Anybody else? Any other ideas about sharing your story before we move on? Okay. So after we learned at this training that I was at to share your story, they talked about creating a game plan. And there are lots of ideas here of creating a game plan. I wouldn't at all expect anybody to do them all, but hopefully you'll find a few. And again, I think, Jeff, it's okay if you email this out, right? You'll be able to send it to everybody. Okay, he's nodding. So what I learned is that you definitely want to be strategic in who you focus on. So I don't need the whole world to know about our fundraiser. It would be great, but knowing that I can't, I'm going to focus in and be strategic there. And then the second thing in italics at the top, I've learned that it's not necessarily how much you raise, but also the number of donations is really pivotal. Sometimes for 1 year, it's better to focus on your number of donations because next year you're going to multiply that and eventually your donation amount is going to increase. So small donations are still almost just as important, maybe not in the pocketbook per se, but it adds up, it multiplies anyway. So I just wanted to share those two things. So you're going to want to pick a goal and communicate what it will be, what it's for your organization. So definitely include that in your communications out. What's your goal and what's it going to do? So I might say our goal is 20,000, but wouldn't it be even more helpful for folks to give if I say it's for 20,000 because we need to buy another bus to get elementary children here? That's just my example, and I know that's different for folks. Or we need 20,000 because we're in dire need of an elementary playground because we're serving them more, for example. So find a goal because people might get on board a little more. Sometimes it's fun to do a theme or an item for competition. You can, again, I'm sorry, a lot of the examples are for us, but we're going to say whichever class raises the most money, they get to slime their teacher, or so-and-so, we actually did it, is going to kiss a cow because we're kid friendly, things like that. So you have a item or competition. So you want to, yeah, it was fun. So just be fun about it and try to find a goal with a competition. Maybe that might work for you. Plan your communication strategy, social media posts, emails, outreach to major donors, postcards, testimonials. We're going to talk about calendars a little further on, but make sure you're communicating in every avenue you can think of. That's part of your game plan. Remind folks of great use for stimulus and tax refund dollars. You want to be strategic right around now because folks are receiving their tax returns and there's talk of another stimulus. We don't know if that'll go through at this point, but no bother to communicate that, to say if you're looking for a way to spend those dollars. Don't forget our organization could use them to benefit whatever you're doing. We're going to talk about how to use your board, but that's a game plan strategy, is to use your board wisely. Second bullet, communicate with agencies you spend money through. So I know we're one of Cintas's best, locations in Culpeper because of all the paper towels and gloves we use. So we're going to ask Cintas for a donation during our fundraising seasons. We use Cisco. We're going to ask them. We bank at Oakview. We're going to ask them, all of the different folks to, they have vested interest because we give them money, and they typically have donation dollars to give. They just need to be asked to give it. We're going to look for matching donors as often as we can. We're going to share statements like, because of you, we were able to do this last year, so they remember and they want to give again. And then we want to share our need. We're not government funded, for example, as one of ours. We don't receive funding from other avenues. We can change the future for our community. You want to let them know why it's important, not only what it's for, but that you can't receive other funding in other avenues. They need to know that. This is still part of the game plan. And again, you're going to get this. So if I'm going fast, it'll be to you. But the board, and I imagine that most of us all have boards as nonprofits, so they can be incredibly helpful, but sometimes they're not as they're not as in the know as you think they are about what goes on inside your business. So you're going to want to ask them certain things. So ask them to find a number of donors. You need to challenge them sometimes. They might not do it on their own. So set a number and ask them to come forward with that. You're going to want to share with them that you need 100% participation, whether it's $50 or $1,000, that all of them need to give. That's part of being on a board. It's okay to challenge them on that way. And if they can't give, they need to find it from somebody, or something, set a challenge. And then you can post that. Our board of directors all, 100% participation, and share a little bit of that so that folks know that it's important. Again, board of directors don't always know the ins and outs, especially of a fundraiser. My board might not know all the specifics of Give Local Piedmont, for example, but I can give them the cliff notes, and I can tell them this is what I need you to say and hold their hand through that. I also can give them templates, not only the board, but other people, and Give Local Piedmont, the website has great templates if that's the fundraiser you're aiming for next. They have templates of letters and things that you can use, or you can make your own, but I wouldn't hesitate to share that with all of your constituents, even people who use your business, not necessarily your board or staff, and say, would you mind forwarding this out to try to promote the fundraiser that you're doing? Not just Give Local Piedmont, but all of them. Pre-write the script. It probably may be best to come from all of us around the screen's brain than it is some of our staff or board of directors, and that's okay. That's our job. You're going to want to ask them to do some video, please, maybe, if that's something that you feel their technology able to do. Some board member videos are key and helpful. And then finally, it's fun to do a board member showdown. We're going to do this year, where which one can raise the most money, put a little challenge behind it. Some boards that might work for, but some not, but it's a fun idea that you might be able to take away. All right, let me get out of this and take down some ideas. What are some other things you might all do in your game planning?
Can I suggest, as it pertains to Give Local Piedmont?
Sure, please.
You might want to check the prizes.
Sure.
For those of you that have participated before, you know that there are prizes offered, and we are doing things a little differently this year, and we're for one calming the prizes down a little bit. We're trying to offer more prizes that are reachable to particularly some of the smaller organizations. But I say that because what you'll see when you look at the prizes is some of them have themes, and some of them have so that you can literally create a mini campaign around the larger campaign of Give Local. One prize, for instance, to the organization that has donations from more states than any other. Believe it or not, a tiny organization can hit that prize if they think ahead and market strategically for it.
Sure. I'll say market prize time strategically. I like that.
Well, one thing that I've learned coming into the nonprofit sector is don't be afraid to ask.
Right.
The worst they're going to say is no.
Yes.
And it's taken me a while to get used to that mentality, but you just have to be brave and go out there and ask and not be afraid of failure.
You know,
And I
Jeff,
think,
Yeah, that's across the board.
yeah, and I think that coming at if you think about it in terms of you're actually providing them with an opportunity,
Right.
that's kind
right.
of another way to kind of twist it, because a lot of people really do want to give. They really want to. And once you make the ask, you're kind of providing them with an opportunity. So, and then I think it makes it easier to make the ask if you think of it in that way.
Especially if you've been just spending 2 to 3 to 4 minutes speaking passionately about the organization.
And
Fear
the
not, Jeff. Fear should
rest
have nothing to do with it. You're coming from love, man. This is, it's if you're truly invested, and I know you are. I know you have that. I know you have that. You're a passionate guy. And Ellen's right. It's God, you said something. So we we who have been in nonprofit for a while or who do this for a living, we assume most people give. That's actually so far from the truth as to make me cry at night. A lot of us do give, but we give to our church, we give to our universities, and we give to our hospitals. The bulk of individual donations to organizations like ours, like all of yours, it comes from mostly middle and lower income people. And it's not a huge segment of the population. So we take it for granted that people give. We need to take it for granted that people don't give. And so not only are you, lighting a fire under them about a particular organization, but you may actually be prompting a lifelong habit. That's been my experience.
Amy, another thing I thought of to think about as part of the game plan. I don't know if you're going to maybe get to this later, but about just after I came on board, I noticed with Aging Together, I noticed that we had a very antiquated database system, and it wasn't integrated at all, like with the web and everything like that. So, what we saw, what we learned was that the significance of and the impact of having like an integrated, really good database system, because if you're tracking all of the people that are coming to you, then oftentimes those are the people that might want to give back. And so building on that database, I think is really critical. And we saw such a significant growth even after like 5 months of being with the new database. We saw this huge growth because we were just reaching so many more people, because we weren't, for example, we would have 600 people come to the Art of Aging Expo and we didn't capture one name, so.
Right.
So
That's a great
yeah.
comment.
Well, and it's through Give Local Piedmont. If you participated in the prior year, you can always pull up reports that show you who donated in the prior year, and you can target to them specifically about what they donated in the prior year, and ask for more.
Yeah, that's a great tool.
I find that the restaurants are really, it's really at the top of their priority to donate to the nonprofits right now, because we're the ones that keep them in business as well.
Okay, great point, Sandra. I hadn't thought about that one.
Yeah, I think at Northern Piedmont, we're all about collaboration. The more that you can, Sandra, you say it perfectly, the more that you can make the connection that we are all interdependent. One person's fall could absolutely domino on a whole series of other organizations. Everybody's connected to everybody. This isn't about a bunch of people that work a nonprofit and do nice things for nice people. This is about, man, we're a community and everybody's dependent on everybody else for success.
That's a great point. I was just on a podcast with Tailor.
That we're really all in this together.
Yeah.
Yep.
For better or worse. I'm sorry. We are all in this together.
Just curious, is there anyone else that has never done this before besides Culpeper Midday Lions that's here on the webinar?
And are you referring to Give Local in particular?
Yes, that's what we're.
Yeah. I can tell you that help is available for first-time participants. You are absolutely in the minority, but we are really trying to raise the roof on encouraging new participation. Normally, we have about 175 organizations that participate, and that number has stood solid for about 3 years now. And that bothers the heck out of me because I know there's organizations out there that simply aren't participating. But to answer your question specifically, you can reach out to me at Northern Piedmont, and I'll have Jeff send you my particulars. I'm very happy to work with first-time participants because this is a little unique for you. I didn't mean to modify unique. This is unique for you, and I can offer direct assistance in the process for you, and I'm happy to do that. Happy to. Maybe we can even, hopefully, if we have a couple other new organizations from Culpeper that participate, we can form a little group and do some hand-holding, because this is not simple. It's not intuitive. Amy's offering you, I mean, this is spectacular what she's doing. And further to that, there are other points that, other things that happen during the day that are unique to Give Local, that are different from other types of long-term strategy thinking, fundraising. This is a one day, one time, here you go. And it's really, really based on momentum, provided you have all this upfront planning. Provided you've been planning for 3 months. It's based on the momentum of 24 hours.
So if anybody else is new this season, if you want to write in the chat or speak now, then that way she knows. I think it's Lynn, right?
Dee.
Yes, it's Lynn, and it's Culpeper Midday Lions. So we're actually a club, but we have a foundation, and we have lost our, for the last however months, our source of income, which was bingo. And so, we're looking for other things, even though we are going to start bingo here in March again. But, who knows? We started it for a while last fall, but that lasted about 6 weeks, and then we had to shut it back down.
Okay. So if you'll just write in the chat, folks, if you're new to Give Local Piedmont or fundraising in general, or going through a different season, that way we know, and Dee Dee can maybe get a look at who might be those new agencies. So the next section might look similar to the game plan. It's called the Take Action. We're going to take action now. So it's shorter than the game plan, and it's more specific to some things that I think that you're definitely going to want to do to be successful with your fundraiser or Give Local Piedmont. So the Take Action section. So if you're going to be successful, it would be really hard for you to be the Lone Ranger. So you're going to want to divide and conquer and decide who might be writing your templates, who's going to be communicating with your donors or your big businesses, etc. So I don't need to take too long to share that. I want to honor your time, but don't do it all yourself, and you'll get better momentum if you engage more people. You're going to prioritize all those previous game plan ideas. It wouldn't be smart to try to do them all, because I don't think you'll really be able to do them well. So prioritize what you think in your specific genre of work would be the best to do that. You're going to want to plan your calendar, and I'm going to give you a sample of what ours would look like, but to give you a good idea. And there are some ideas on givelocalpiedmont.org for the calendar as well, and we'll check out their site in a moment. There's other ways to give, so I didn't want this to only be Give Local Piedmont. You each have your own avenues of fundraisers. Another easy one is Amazon Smile. Everybody uses Amazon. You can definitely get a good kick just by asking your folks to go to Amazon Smile instead of regular Amazon, get the same products, and they give back, I think it's 5% of the purchase. It's tax season, so definitely use that to your advantage. We promote a donor wall because some people like to be recognized for their donations. So things like that promote. You're going to encourage people on the 5th bullet to follow your social media and post strategically at key times. So for example, on a Friday afternoon, because folks are on their social media on weekends a lot, it's better to post. You can see your engagements on social media, but often better to post in the late afternoon because folks are on more in the evenings. Be strategic of when you post. And then another thing I've learned just in my packet of collections from Give Local webinars and trainings, ask fun questions on social media to generate conversations and celebrations. That's one fun takeaway, so that the more engagement you can have, the more people are going to come back to see your important posts with the link to give. I have one more page of takeaways, and then we'll brainstorm together. You're going to want to keep the message fresh. So you're not going to want to say the same thing, give, give, give every time. You're going to want to post strategic updates about your organization, fun things that are going on, pictures, videos, etc. New images, new news. You're going to want to do some testimonials, all fresh things. on Give Local Piedmont, you can begin doing donations on April 20th. So you're going to want to solicit early donations. That way it gives your organization momentum, or at least maybe they don't give until the day of, but you're soliciting early so that you have maybe some early donors to get your game rolling. Some folks want to give when they are reluctant to give if they don't see many other people giving. So it'd be good to start with a pot in hand. Analyze your donor base, and then the next bullet, they go hand in hand. Analyze who's giving, and then possibly segment them into different types of donors. Therefore, you can tailor your messaging. So to some parents, for example, in my center, I might say, if you give $10, you'll give the classroom craft supplies, balls for the playground, etc. To my larger donors or my business donors, I might say, I need $1,000 to have the cart to take all of the equipment to XYZ. You're going to tailor it a little differently, and it's okay to segment how you communicate. Maybe not on social media, for example, but if you're doing email blasts or personal contact, tailor what you need maybe a little differently. And then finally, you're going to want to share the direct link to the giving page in many of your correspondence outlets. They're not going to want to have to go search for it. So make sure that you're really putting that in everything you do so that they know how to give when the time is open. Before we brainstorm together, well, I think we can do that first. I'll skip a few. Does anybody else have some, well, let's go to the Give Local Piedmont page real quick. And I wanted to show you some of their takeaways too for how they do it. Is everybody seeing a new web page opening on your screen? No? Okay, I'll stop share and I'll go to it a different way. Sometimes you have to do things a little bit differently. Do you see nonprofit resources on your screen now?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay, so all I did was go to givelocalpiedmont.org first, and then on the Give Local Piedmont site, there is a resource section that you can go to. And we're not going to spend a ton of time here because not everybody might be participating. I hope you are, but I wanted to keep it a little bit broader. But they have a great tab with lots of tools. This would be especially helpful for Lynn or other first-time folks to be able to just bite off a little less than maybe what the PowerPoint shows for your first time doing it. So you'll be able to get takeaways a little bit more. So there's, for example, here's a checklist for success that you would be able to have a good idea from start to finish what they think would be helpful for you to do. And Dee Dee, I don't mean to overstep. I got to do one.
No. This is great. It's great to hear how someone else describes it because, well, you can well know because, and you're doing beautifully. I'm so happy.
Eat, sleep, and breathe it all the time.
Well, the best thing for nonprofits are nonprofit ambassadors, and just consider yourself our newest ambassador, Amy.
Okay.
I was going to say, Dee Dee, that's something we found is that testimonials sometimes are the most effective way to reach people, is hearing from others how well that they've been able to receive something. So I think it's just great hearing from Amy and how she's learned and how she's been able to apply it.
Exactly.
So Lynn and others on the screen on givelocalpiedmont.org on this resource page, it just gives you a literal checklist of what to do a month in advance or as early as possible, for example. And they're a little bit possibly easier to bite off and do. And it goes down as far as basically the days before and then the day of, and then after to do the thank yous, which we'll talk about. But so that was simply by going to givelocalpiedmont.org and checking out their resource page. There's other ones, the planning guide, and there's obviously some trainings that you can still do. I forget, as I was planning, there was social media guide also. So if you need some ideas for what to do, it talks about photos and videos and what to keep in mind as you're making your social media blasts. Just different things. So please do go to givelocalpiedmont.org. The site will be in your PowerPoint that comes out, but it's easy to find for.
That's excellent.
For that. Yes, very, very helpful. And then I'm going to stop sharing and go back to the PowerPoint. And one other take action that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go and create yourself a calendar. So I would hope that this could be part of your make from the make and take. Let me get there 1 second here. If you have your calendar in front of you, we're not going to spend, we don't have a ton of time, but here's some second here. I'm going to go to presentation mode for this so it zooms in just a little bit. So here's what I have as a template for March. It might change. And again, this is education specific, but maybe you can get a kind of an idea of what this calendar purpose is. Somewhere I think on the Give Local Piedmont, or somewhere I've learned in one of the trainings, it says to start at May 4th, which is when Give Local Piedmont is, and work backwards. So that's a good strategy. I have calendars for March and April to share with you here with some ideas.
Dr. Seuss Day, my
Yeah.
favorite day.
So we're gonna, not all of your promotion is supposed to be asking for donations. A lot of your promotion is just sharing what you're up to and what you're doing to get engagement, so that those same people are gonna see your posts and value what you're doing. So we're gonna share about Dr. Seuss Week. Thursday, March 4th is exactly 2 months away. So that's going to be kind of the start of us sharing about our initiatives for this season. You kind of want to look for those. We're 2 months away, we're 1 month away, we're a week away, kind of those, I don't know, anniversary dates or something as you get there. On next Friday, we're going to do our admin meeting to divide and conquer so that the next 2 months are planned out. On that following Monday, I'm going to immediately, so I don't let it sit on my desk and get it forgotten, I'm going to communicate it to my staff. And the staff are not going to get the whole picture because that's just, they don't have time for that. I'm going to give them the cliff notes of what I need them to do. I'm going to ask, in my case, I'm going to ask the pastor of the church when I can talk to his congregation. I'm going to get that on the calendar. You might all have different communication avenues of when you can possibly get it to the newspaper, get it to, I'm not sure, every group is unique, but possibly when you can speak at the board meeting or when you can speak something about your entity. We're going to begin summer enrollment, and because of the pandemic, summer is going to look different and exciting around here, so I'm going to promote that. On the 23rd, we meet every 4th Tuesday. I'm going to share at the board meeting about it. Graduation, anyway, these are more education specific, but you get the point of, you're going to want to look for those good moments. What do you have planned this spring that you can promote? Our April one is on April 1st. Y'all are going to want to put this on your calendar somewhere. I'm going to be about a month away, so I'm going to start finalizing my memos to businesses that we use so that they know it's important that they give to us. We give to them in business all year, so it's their turn. Looking for ones that are good for all of us. I'm going to still motivate the staff again at our staff meeting on the 5th. We're a month away around April 6th because the 4th happens on a weekend. So on that Tuesday, I'm going to post we're a month away and try to energize. And these posts might be me talking. They might be pictures. They might be just words. And then I'm going to start, remember how I put that we're going to have fun facts or get people talking. I thought a couple weeks out, I might start with fun CDC trivia because we've been around for 71 years. Might do some trivia Tuesdays to get people answering fun questions about the center. I'm going to do fun fact Fridays so that, they know that we, I don't know, became full day program this time. We, they're still directors from the back in the 40s that are still living, things like that. And then I'm going to remind the board again at our monthly meeting that I have early donations on the calendar. I'm going to start on April 20th, trying to get those early donations. I'm going to do the week away memo. I'm going to do testimonials the whole week before. So you get the picture. Anybody else have any calendar items that you usually put on your calendars for fundraising? Might be helpful.
Huh.
It's good to get it written. It's good to get it out. Get your calendars and write it down.
Yeah, I think I want to dovetail Amy just on one thing, and that's the importance of thanking people.
Yeah, that's going to come up. Yeah.
Good, because that's a calendar item. It's, there should be a drop dead. However, when you
May
do
4th,
a campaign, yeah, like when you do a campaign in particular, that there be a drop dead that all thank yous have been sent and that kind of thing.
Yep. It's a little awkward. It's still going back to it being embarrassing sometimes. It's a little awkward I was trying to sit here and think, when am I going to put my testimonials on there? Just popping a testimonial on your social media sometimes seems sometimes unusual, but we're going to be brave and, get them out there and just assume that folks are going to enjoy hearing about them.
And speaking of calendars, one thing that I always do, Amy, is I always look and see what other nonprofits in the area are doing. So when we're planning something, we're making sure that we're not competing against them, that we're able to help support them in that way, that we're not overlapping in terms. And it especially was hard in 2020 when everybody in the fall was trying to cram in a year's worth of
A lot of overlapping.
Right.
May
That's great.
20th, 5 over 50.
All right. We should have like a joint calendar. We do. We need a nonprofit calendar.
Yes.
We meet at the end of every month, folks. If you're on the call, we bring
Wow.
people in. Not everybody meets every month, but we're going to begin bringing some things to the nonprofits a little more frequently at the end of certain months. So we can maybe talk calendar a little more collectively. All right. Well, let me get back to the other screen here. Before we get to the big day, which is the final kind of leg of the journey today at our meeting, any other take action things that weren't mentioned? I'll kind of go back to the screens a little bit to remind you, divide and conquer, plan your calendar, plan your social media, keep it fresh, get your donors in advance, talk to them all differently. Anything else that we should add to our take action items?
Those personal phone calls really help as well.
Yes, good.
Those that have been with you forever. So
Yes.
I have to leave like momentarily, but I wanted to share with you a card that we came up with. Thank you, a specialized Give Local Piedmont card that we came up with a few years ago. So if you let me share my screen, I'll do that real quickly. And then I apologize, but I've got to.
Sure, Jeff, is she able to do that? Thank you, Lori.
Lori, a co-host, and Lori, you can go ahead and share your screen now.
I wonder if I need to stop share, do you think?
Yes, I think so.
All right, let me
So-
stop share. Go ahead, Lori.
So are you all seeing the card?
Coming, I think.
Do you see it?
Oh, now
Yes.
we do. Yes.
So we found I don't know where we found this graphic, because it's all, on the computer. We saw that donate. And then, I mean, it's nothing that great or special, but you can see it's been a while. So this is just what I call it, because we say that we're United Way agency, which doesn't really exist anymore. And I don't know if you can scroll down. Let's see, can I scroll down? But it says, thank you for your Give Local Piedmont. And
Try to
because we
scroll.
want, I don't know how. Wait, let's see here. Here we go.
Yeah,
See
there
what
you
it
go.
is? Because we wanted to differentiate our thank you, our Give Local Piedmont thank you donations from our other types of donations that we solicit.
Oh, thanks for sharing. So you emailed this as the thank you email. Do you do any postcards in advance, or mostly
We
this is your?
do. Yeah, we have.
Good. Yeah, that's important. And they say to definitely put your logo on it, like they have the logo, and just get people kind of visuals really stick in their minds a lot more. So yeah, that's great.
Well, but I hate to leave, but I'm sorry. We'll see y'all.
Nope.
Thank you.
See you later. That was good. Let me, yes, go ahead.
one of the things that we do is we post a donor list, and we encourage them to donate by indicating that we'll leave it on the list until next year.
Okay,
That's
so
the advertising.
so you have a donor list that remains kind of in the public eye for the year?
That because of the last year, of course, being so challenging. That was one of the ways that we decided to keep their names out there and to encourage them to actually participate. But
Okay. That's a good idea. Some folks really do like that recognition.
Mhm.
Good idea. Any other take action items? Well, let's plan our big day here, and then we can always go back to any of these as we brainstorm more. So on the day of Give Local Piedmont or your fundraiser, I think any of these can go for multiple uses. You're going to want to include in your messaging to donate, click like, share, invite 5 friends or family, etc. You're just going to want to really give them, basically at that point, you're giving the friends of your organization a to-do list. You're going to want to do Facebook Lives. That's a really great way, or at least minimally post videos. It's a great way to get folks seeing your posts and post many updates throughout the day. So it can be, this is what we've earned, or it can also be, we hope to get to this amount by a certain time, kind of just give updates. What Dee Dee mentioned, you're going to want to give immediate thank you notes or recognition, which we'll talk about on the next slide. But even, if they give at 8 a.m. on the day of your fundraiser, you want to give an immediate, somewhat thank you, maybe not your most formal yet, but something that recognizes that. You're going to share how close you are to your goal, constantly give updates. Ask folks to share that they're giving. So it's great when somebody would give $100 and then go on and say, I just gave to Culpeper Baptist Child Development Center for this purpose, or any of your other organizations. It just gives you momentum. And then this one, which came up earlier, but so it was in the thought process, be present and confident. Your passion for your group doesn't have to be embarrassing. It's a day in the life of your fundraiser, and what an awesome day. They should be thankful that you're out promoting the organization that they're utilizing. So don't be embarrassed for your passion. And then thank yous on your big day. You're going to want to do it very early on, whether the day of or very shortly thereafter. People who are recognized are more likely to give again. And then I kind of broke it down. I saw this in my notes. Large donors, it's great that they get some one-on-one time. Probably in person would be best. Not sure how. Realizing that their donations were there. A medium donation, give a phone call or personal note from a board member or director, somebody. And I guess as I'm talking, it makes it seem like I'm minimizing the small donor, but you just, for the viability of your business, might sometimes want to give a little extra attention to certain things. If you can do it all at a high level, do it, but not everybody can. When you get a lot of small donations, you can't make it all personal with carrying on the busyness of your day. Sometimes small donors, an email or a thank you letter, but regardless of the size, they're getting something. And then to encourage giving for next year, your thank you shouldn't stop directly after. You should also keep them in the loop of what their gifts were used for during the year. Invite them to something. If it's your goal is for something big, you can invite them. Here's the playground cart that we purchased. Here's something that the Lions Club is doing for the local community with their vision screenings and, things like that. You just want to keep them in the loop. Okay, so the big day, we're going to stay in great communication, basically is the summation of it all. You just want to be very active and very updating folks. And then you want to do your thank yous. What other things have helped you on big days of fundraising events that we could add to the list today?
Something that we did during Culpeper Fest last year was we did Facebook Lives of all of our vendors. And so if you're doing Facebook Lives, you're getting a lot of extra engagement in the community. And I think just even if it's doing Facebook Lives of maybe your donors, of your larger donors, of you thanking them or commenting on their donation and bringing light to it, I think that might be beneficial. We received over 10,000 video views for all of our Facebook Lives that we did.
Okay.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's great. Of all,
Make me jealous.
all right. What else can we do for the big day?
just be positive. Positivity is infectious. And if you could, spread a positive message of, what your program is doing, what your organization is doing to, other nonprofits, to just other businesses who may be donors, they may be more likely to be either competitive to say, okay, I'm going to try even harder this year, try harder next year. May for your vendors or your partners to be able to give more. Hey, I only gave 50. I should give 50 more. So I mean, any of these little things that are just like almost like little Jedi mind tricks to be able to encourage others. And I think that's even just kind of what we're doing here today.
Sounds great. Yeah, it's infectious. I like that. The opposite might be cancerous, or something that's so negative and just brings you down in a different contagious way. Positivity is great.
Literally could build a little campaign around the positive use of the word infectious in this day and time.
Infectious, that's a good one.
I know, I'm all about turning stuff around. It's like take a word that we oftentimes go, whoa, no. Turn it around, make it work for you.
I love that, Dee Dee. I might steal that.
Hey, thought of it first.
You COVID-19.
The whole point of today is collaborate, Andrew. So there's no first in any of this. All fair game.
Shucks.
What other game plans or takeaways? We can go back to any category. Has anything else come to mind that you've been successful with or you're going to try this year?
I'd like to hear this. I mean, I never have an opportunity to just talk to, we're always talking at you, which gets old after a while, let me tell you, but I love hearing what other people are doing. And we're doing a Zoom call ourselves for the first time on March 24th. And we've decided that the webinars are great, but I'd like to see your faces, and we want to sort of be able to just we want you to ask open-ended questions about Give Local. But it reminds me, Amy, we should do this. We should ask about, what do you got? What do you do? Because for 177 organizations, I don't know the answer to that. I don't know individually what all of you are doing. And we may learn something big from you, because keep in mind, we're the umbrella, and we can advertise the event on your behalf, and we can do all kinds of stuff on your behalf. But you may have an idea that can actually be used by the umbrella to raise awareness for everyone. So
you do a great job, Dee Dee. The Give Local Piedmont site is fantastic. Your webinars are posted, so folks can get all that training information from you just by going to the site. I think it is a great idea to have it open-ended. I think that's great. Otherwise, folks can go directly to what you've already done on the site. So you do a great job of that.
We're finally getting it. I mean, we're finally getting a little better at like our web. I mean, we're trying to just be informative.
Yep.
So.
That's great. What other the last slide is just, I had mentioned when we were brainstorming this make and take, there's things that I still don't know how to do. I don't know how to do those constant contacts or, all of those pretty emails, so there's things that I have goals for myself to learn. Are there other things that we can connect on? Certainly you can reach out to me if there's anything here that you feel we can connect on, but what other things?
I love your idea, Amy, about, sharing the calendar and all of us, coming together, the nonprofits, to kind of see when our big dates are. I thought that was a great idea. And I really congratulate you on this presentation, Amy. It was I love how you integrated, that opportunity, like Dee Dee was saying, to hear from other people and incorporate that, because I mean, I already, just from this one presentation, I got so many great ideas that I can use for Give Local that we hadn't thought of before. So what a great idea. So I think, Dee Dee, you're right, on the 24th. I think that's gonna be amazing to be able to have so many people sharing ideas. We can all learn from each other.
Yeah, I can't wait, frankly. And I think, frankly, I have a healthy Culpeper to thank, because I only recently started participating in healthy Culpeper calls and saw that, yeah, you can put 100 people up there and there they are. And again, although our webinars are good and I appreciate them, I would much rather do it this way. Much rather do it this way. I just think this has great value. And for those of you that have been with us before, we normally try and sit down. We try and do live
Yes.
meetings. And
Yeah.
and
This
now
is the next best thing, kind of.
So-
Yeah.
It's the next best thing. That's
Right.
exactly right. It's the next best thing. And so, yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Jeff, we'll make sure you get an invite too. I think I'm trying to send you everything on GLP press wise, but now I understand I need to get to know Josh Gully. So he's going to be he's not going to like me, but that's such is.
No, Josh is a great young man, and he's going to help you. So, be sure to volunteer to write a column. He'll love it.
Okay.
I'd like to share something on that. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Andrew DiNicola. I'm the co-chair of the Nonprofit Council. One of the programs that we actually began this past year in the Nonprofit Council for the Chamber is a mentorship program. And within the mentorship program, we partner you up with another nonprofit or small business organization to learn from each other about a particular area that you are deficient in. So for example, if you're deficient in marketing, we try to partner you up with somebody who has a strong skill set in marketing. And this way we can share some of our skills. We can really help some of the other nonprofits and other small businesses out just by sharing what we know and how to make ourselves better. Just getting that different set of eyeballs on what you've been doing historically or something that you've never done before could really help you do something better, whether it be for Give Local Piedmont or just other programs or other avenues that you're exploring in general. So if you are interested in doing something like that, our next program will be starting sometime in the middle of the year. So please stay tuned for emails from Jeff and the Chamber regarding the mentor program. So far, this current set, and this was our first set that we've ever done it. I believe we had well over 20 participants. Am I correct, Jeff?
Pretty close to that.
Yep. So we have a great number of sets to kind of go around, and we just hope to be able to continue that process of learning going forward.
That's terrific. I came out of leadership development in the early 90s in nonprofit, and we were shocked to find how many nonprofits and how many executive directors work in a vacuum. They just work in isolation, and nothing works better than collaboration and sitting down around a table and sharing war stories. Sometimes you just want somebody to hold your hand and go, "Oh man, been there." Oh, I mean, it's nothing beats sharing success and sharing ideas, but every now and then you need a shoulder to, I've been developing this one dude for 3 years and I was ready to make the big ask and he moved or whatever, I mean, I'm all about that, Andrew, all about it. And I love that it's happening in Culpeper.
Well, especially since, we all are sharing, as you said, we all are sharing a same common ground. In this particular case, we're all sharing the same ground of specifically Culpeper. So we all have a very similar donor base. We all have a very similar advertising base of who we're being able to get out to within the community, within the county, whether they are able to physically make a donation or, just some sort of time donation going forward. I think that really does help and influence all of us in one way capacity or another.
No, I agree. I could not agree more. It's, The United States is a smart country, but I got to tell you, the continent of Africa and the continent of South America have a much better grasp on, they call them NGOs, non-governmental organizations. And so much is done in harmony with others. And so much is done to develop the leader. I think it starts with sitting around a table together.
You know, partnership is something that has really helped us through this pandemic, is working with CRI. Jessica Jenkins was on the call for a little while, with Paige Reed at Town Tourism and Economic Development, Phil Sheridan at Economic Development. And it's been those partnerships and be able to work together to help lift up everybody as much as possible that has made the difference.
I just
If
want
I
to.
could, hello?
Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I just want to say hello. I'm Dave Reardon with the Small Business Development Center. And the nonprofit community is basically small business with a different little flavor to it. But a lot of what you're doing, in a lot of what I'm doing, is basically the same in what we work with small business. We also offer webinars and consulting on things, social media, websites, and myself in particular in accounting and QuickBooks. I do a lot of work with people on the technical issues of working with QuickBooks. I know a lot of the small businesses are doing it now. I've been involved in nonprofits. Taste of it was some numbers of years ago when I went and became treasurer of a nonprofit, and within 3 weeks found that the prior treasurer had been embezzling money. And being an accountant, I got into that, and it's one of the war stories you're talking about. But my office is right here in Culpeper at the Economic Development Center, and I'm pleased to help anytime I can. It's the Central Virginia Small Business Development Center. And right now I'm working remotely, but my contacts are all back to the office.
Jeff, do you want to share about the nonprofit opportunity Northern Piedmont Community Foundation opportunity?
It's for the Culpeper Wellness Foundation has a 2021 Healthy Living Grants Program. They just announced it. We've shared it out. I've put it into the chat for you folks to go and check out our news releases. It's a $115,000 in grants for health and wellness projects serving Culpeper, Madison, and Orange counties. Applications are accepted beginning Monday, March 8th. Deadline is Friday, April 16th at 5 p.m. Applicants can request funding up to $10,000 to support projects or activities that will be completed by March 31st of 2022. Volunteer members of the Foundation's Community Grants Advisory Board will review the applications and determine which requests are funded. Applicants will be notified of the status of their application by May 28th, 2021. Grant recipients must be 501c3s or organizations that do not have public charity status may apply for grants if a public charity acts as a fiscal sponsor.
Sounds like a great opportunity. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Amy. I want to say thank you for putting together this PowerPoint and leading this presentation. I think it was great information, and I know that I certainly learned something, and I'm hoping that all the other nonprofits found something out today as well.
Great presentation.
Yeah, sure thing,
Yeah,
everybody. Yep, reach out. Let's all stay connected.
Thank you, Amy. Great job.
Thank you, Amy. Good job. We appreciate you from the Nonprofit Council.
All of it came from other webinars I've been to, not from the brain of Amy Martin. So, well, thanks for coordinating. I sent the email to you, Jeff and Amy. If y'all can forward that out to people, even not on the screen, all of it's good. So
we will share that out. Thank you, Amy.
All right, take care, everybody.
Thanks, everybody, for coming. We appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.